All right, what's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I'm driving a 1997 Pontiac Grand Prix GTP. Up front is a 3.8-liter supercharged V6. Down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. I am super excited to be driving the Grand Prix GTP for a couple of reasons. First of all, this is the supercharged version. It's a Buick 3800 series engine, which I have always enjoyed. The second reason is the fact that this car is pretty low mileage for its age. 1997 only has 61,000 miles on it, so if I ever wanted to drive another Grand Prix, this is the cleanest shot at one. But let's get back to that 3800 series engine. Really, it's a Buick engine. It's a 3.8-liter V6 supercharged from the factory, making about 240-ish horsepower. It's not really anything super crazy. It's not this crazy sleeper car that's going to beat a Lamborghini if given the chance. Not quite. However, it definitely has some pep in its step. And from a stoplight, if you put your foot in it, you're not going to go anywhere because you're going to be spinning the tires. Now, this supercharger and V6 setup is actually a lower compression setup than you would normally find in a lot of other vehicles. However, that's actually kind of a good thing because that means these motors last forever and ever and ever. They're really reliable. They're really easy to find parts for. GM put these engines into a lot of different vehicles. So luckily, if you find yourself in need of parts, it's usually not that difficult. All right, we'll get on it here a little bit. A little bit of squeal. It's not going to blow your socks off. It's not going to be anything crazy. However, it's definitely better than a lot of the other vehicles that were coming out in this time. That's still a big body sedan. Right now, I'm thinking of the Dodge Intrepid right now. This is a lot more fun to drive than a Dodge Intrepid. Like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Unfortunately, there were no manuals given to the Grand Prix GTPs. But the transmission is doing its job. It's shifting when I want it to. It's staying pretty quiet. I don't really have anything else to worry about with it. And last but not least, of course, the Grand Prix is front-wheel drive. So let's talk about the interior. We have a couple interesting sort of 90s quirks in here that I absolutely love. In front of me, I have 4 main gauges. On the far left is my fuel. Then I have my tachometer with this nice little warning sign. I like it. Then I have my speedometer on the right and my coolant temperature on the far right. On the steering wheel on the left, I have my Seek preset AM and FM buttons. And on the right, I have my volume, play, and mute. They're very bubbly, very late 90s. I absolutely love it. And the whole steering wheel itself. I mean, this is inexcusably a late 90s steering wheel. Up ahead of me, I actually do have a heads-up display. I'm going to try to get video of it. It's kind of hard to see here during the day. The Corvette C5 from the same era had the same heads-up display, which is really nice. This is a Pontiac, this is a sedan with a heads-up display. I think that's really neat. To the left of me, I have my fog light switch, and then down below I have my headlight switches and dimmer switches. Then on the door, I have my power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Then, as we come into the center, we have my favorite part of the Grand Prix GTP, which is the Driver Information Center. So here I can actually see boost, fuel used, oil life, average economy, and range all in this little digital readout. It looks so 80s. It looks like something out of RoboCop or Blade Runner or something of the sort. Very, very dated at this point, but I absolutely love that. Super nostalgic. It has this like wire diagram of the GTP from up above. Such a cool part of the car. I absolutely love this. This is hands down my favorite part of the Grand Prix. It'll also show me tire pressure check and low track. The thing that's interesting about this 1997 GTP is that this is the only year of the GTP, since it's the first year, didn't have traction control. Pontiac didn't think you needed it, and then they put this car out and they're like, probably need it. So if you buy a 97 GTP, it does not have traction control. Then I have 3 air conditioning and heating vents. Then my actual radio itself, again, very late 80s, early 90s here. Definitely reminds me a lot of the 87 Fiero I recently drove, as well as like the Sunfire I drove, all of this stuff. I mean, it really, really is dated at this point, but I love the look of it. I have all the balancers and faders, and I do actually have a CD player, which is very, very nice. And it says Delco Pontiac in the upper left-hand corner, which is interesting because that means this wasn't shared between Chevy, Buick, and Cadillac products. Then I have my air conditioning controls, very basic here. Fan controls, temperature, and where I want the temperature to be sent. Nothing groundbreaking here, but it has AC from the factory. Didn't really work all that well, but it had it from the factory. Then I have a pop-out ashtray and cigarette lighter, little coin holder, and then the shifter itself. The shifter feels great. Putting it into gear, I really can feel the different gears. I kind of know what I'm doing. I really like that. And on the side of the shifter, I do have a button for performance shifting. So I hit that and it holds on to gears a little bit longer. There's a nice little satisfying click. It sounds like a 90s keyboard, if you ask me. Then I have two pop-out cup holders and the center console. Now, the seats are out of a newer Grand Prix, a 2005 Grand Prix, upgraded. They're a little bit nicer. These have sort of the suede insert with the black leather. So these are not the factory seats, but however, they are very, very comfortable. I'd recommend this upgrade if you have your own Grand Prix. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 1997 Pontiac Grand Prix GTP. And these seats, again, have been swapped out from the 2005, so these are not factory seats. They're decently comfortable. However, I don't actually have a ton of leg room. At least not as much leg room as I thought. I'm sitting here. My knees are kind of going on either side of the seat. Headroom is okay. It's also not great. I expected a bigger sedan like this to have a lot more room in the back than it does. It's manageable. It's livable. Not ideal. Now we gotta talk about the exterior. I love the red color. I think the wheels are super 90s. I think the car just overall is super 90s. It sort of has this blobby aggressiveness to it. Same with the Dodge Intrepid I just drove 2 weeks ago. I guess that's the best way to describe it, is blobby aggressiveness. It's pretty interesting in that respect. I kind of like the look of it. You either love it or you hate it. And honestly, I'm more towards team love than team hate. Now, the GTP as a car. Is this car fast? No, it's not fast. Yes, it's a supercharged V6, but it only makes 240 horsepower, which isn't bad, but for a supercharged vehicle, it's gotta be one of the lowest horsepower supercharged vehicles there is. So you're not gonna win many competitions. You might blow a couple cars away at the stoplight, but not many. And the one thing I don't really like about this is just the GM build quality. Vehicles from this era, from GM, aren't really built all that well. The engine mounts make the engine kind of squeak. There's a couple other squeaks and rattles in here that I can't really put my finger on. Not as bad as other GM vehicles I've driven, but still the build quality isn't really amazing. But besides that, as a performance sedan, you have to put your head into the mindset. At the time, this was something really special. And driving this is such a great time capsule. You know, 61,000 miles. This thing is barely broken in. 97, the year I was born. Man, this is just something really, really cool. Cars can be cool without being fast. And this is definitely one of those cars. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Marcus for letting me take out his incredibly clean Pontiac Grand Prix GTP. This thing is absolutely awesome. I'm so happy I got the opportunity to drive it, and I'm glad I got to show it off for you guys. So huge thank you to Marcus for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really like to. Take care, guys.